Peanuts, the silent destroyer of strength. Let's start with one of America's most beloved snacks. It's the star of baseball games, school lunches, and late-night cravings. For many seniors, it brings back warm memories of childhood PB&J sandwiches and Sunday peanut brittle from Grandma. But what if this nostalgic treat was quietly working against everything you've spent a lifetime building? Peanuts are not just a snack, they're a habit, a comfort, a symbol of simplicity in an increasingly complicated world. But beneath that familiar shell lies a storm brewing, one that could be weakening your muscles, accelerating aging, and threatening your independence. You may have heard peanuts labeled as heart-healthy or a great source of protein, but here's the truth. For seniors, peanuts can be dangerous. Not because they're inherently evil, far from it, but because our bodies change as we age. What once digested easily now struggles under the weight of toxins, inflammation, and medication interactions that were never an issue when we were younger. Let's talk about aflatoxins, mold-based toxins that often lurk in peanuts like invisible villains. These compounds, produced by certain strains of fungi that grow on crops stored in humid conditions, are known carcinogens. In young bodies, the liver might neutralize small amounts without a hitch. But as we pass 60, 70, even 80, our detox systems slow down. Suddenly, those occasional handfuls of peanuts aren't so harmless anymore. Imagine your liver, once a tireless worker, filtering out impurities and keeping you strong, now struggling to keep up. With every spoonful of peanut butter, with every trail mix snack, you might be giving it a punch it no longer has the strength to take. And then there's the inflammation factor. Peanuts are loaded with omega-6 fatty acids, powerful compounds that, when balanced with omega-3s, can support brain health and immunity. But here's the problem. Most Americans already eat too many omega-6s. And when left unchecked, these fatty acids become fuel for a fire burning silently in your body. Chronic systemic inflammation. This isn't just a buzzword. It's a real threat. This internal fire attacks your joints, stiffens your arteries, weakens your muscles, and dulls your mind. It's the reason climbing stairs becomes harder, walking feels heavier, and standing up from a chair takes more effort than it should. And let's not forget about medications. If you're taking blood thinners, warfarin, Coumadin, or similar, peanuts bring another level of risk. They contain vitamin K, which plays a role in blood clotting. While normally a good thing, in people on anticoagulants, even small changes in vitamin K intake can tip the balance dangerously. One day you're fine, the next you're facing a life-threatening bleed, all because of a nut you thought was doing you good. But wait, what about peanut butter? Ah yes, America's favorite spread. It's creamy, sweet, and oh so satisfying. But most commercial peanut butters are loaded with hydrogenated oils, added sugars, and excess sodium. A perfect trifecta for high blood pressure, heart disease, and cognitive decline. That innocent jar in your pantry? It might be feeding your cravings while starving your future. Let me tell you about Mary, a 72-year-old retiree from Florida I met during a health workshop. She loved peanut butter, ate it on toast every morning, stirred into her oatmeal, and even used it to make healthy smoothies. Over time, she started noticing something alarming. Her legs felt weaker, her memory worse, and her energy levels plummeted. She came to me confused, frustrated, and scared. "I eat healthy," she told me. "I don't understand why I'm falling apart." After reviewing her diet, it became clear her peanut butter habit was slowly poisoning her system. Once she switched to almond butter and began reducing processed oils, her energy returned. Her steps steadied. Her confidence came back. Mary's story is a reminder. What feels healthy doesn't always be healthy, especially when you're over 65. So, if you're still reaching for peanuts thinking they're a safe bet, it's time to rethink. Because not all nuts are created equal. Some feed your vitality. Others quietly erode it. And peanuts? They fall into the second category. Cashews, the calcium thief. Next up, cashews. Creamy, buttery, and irresistibly rich. They're the darling of gourmet cooking, salad toppings, and vegan cheese alternatives. But behind their luxurious texture hides a sneaky secret. Cashews are stealing something vital from your body, and you might not even realize it until it's too late. What are they stealing? Calcium. Yes, The very mineral your bones need to stay strong and resilient is being bound up and flushed away by a natural compound found in cashews called oxalates. Now, oxalates aren't unique to cashews. They exist in spinach, beet greens, and some berries too. But the amount in cashews is significant, enough to interfere with calcium absorption. For a senior whose bones are already losing density, this can be a devastating blow. Imagine your skeleton as a house made of bricks. Every year, the walls get thinner. Mortar cracks. Supports weaken. You depend on calcium to rebuild those walls, to patch the holes and reinforce the structure. But then along comes cashews, and instead of adding bricks, they start pulling them out. Over time, this subtle sabotage can lead to osteopenia, then osteoporosis, and eventually, the kind of fractures that change lives. One fall, one broken hip. That's all it takes. I remember meeting Richard, a retired teacher from Oregon who loved his cashew trail mixes. He'd munch on them while reading the newspaper, watching TV, or driving to visit his grandkids. Then one day, he slipped in the kitchen after grabbing a glass from the cabinet. He didn't fall hard, barely hit the floor, but he broke his wrist. The doctor said his bone density was shockingly low. No warning signs, no pain, just a silent erosion happening beneath the surface. When I asked him what he usually snacked on, his eyes lit up. Cashews. Love 'em. It wasn't the only cause of his weakened bones, but it was a contributor, and one that was easy to fix. Cutting back on cashews and replacing them with calcium-rich alternatives helped Richard regain some of his strength. He started lifting light weights again, took up gentle yoga, felt more confident in his own home. But cashews don't stop at stealing calcium. Oh no, they come with another danger. They're surprisingly high in carbohydrates. For seniors managing diabetes or prediabetes, which includes nearly half of all adults over 65, this hidden sugar load can wreak havoc on insulin sensitivity and blood sugar control. Spikes in blood sugar damage small blood vessels, especially in the feet and legs. Over time, this leads to neuropathy, poor circulation, and slower healing wounds. In the worst cases, amputations. And let's not ignore the kidney stone connection. Oxalates don't just bind calcium in the gut, they also form crystals in the kidneys. For seniors with reduced kidney function or dehydration issues, common after 60, cashews can push them over the edge into painful, recurring kidney stones. Finally, there's the physical danger, choking. Their smooth, slippery texture makes them a common culprit in elderly choking incidents, especially among those with dry mouth or reduced chewing strength. So, as delicious as they are, cashews are a triple threat: stealing your calcium, spiking your blood sugar, raising your risk of kidney trouble and choking. If you want to keep moving, stay independent, and protect your bones, it's time to say goodbye to the cashew habit. Chapter 3: Pine Nuts, the Brain and Leg Disruptor. Last but definitely not least, pine nuts. Tiny, elegant, and often sprinkled on salads or blended into pesto, pine nuts give off an air of sophistication. They feel indulgent, healthy, sophisticated. But beneath that refined exterior lies a quiet saboteur that can mess with your brain, your medications, and even your appetite. Welcome to the world of pine mouth syndrome, a bizarre yet real condition where everything you eat suddenly tastes metallic, bitter, or downright repulsive. It can last for days, weeks, sometimes even months. Seniors, already prone to loss of appetite due to age-related taste changes, can find themselves spiraling into malnutrition and weakness after just one batch of tainted pesto. And here's the kicker. Researchers believe pine mouth is triggered by a reaction to oxidized fats in old or improperly stored pine nuts. Those delicate polyunsaturated fats go rancid quickly, releasing harmful compounds that wreak havoc on your nervous system and taste buds. But the dangers don't stop there. Pine nuts love to interact with medications, and not in a friendly way. Over 60% of commonly prescribed drugs, including blood pressure meds, statins, antidepressants, and anti-anxiety medications, can be affected by compounds in pine nuts. Some interactions cause blood pressure to spike. Others disrupt heart rhythm. Some even increase bleeding risk. Most doctors don't warn about this because pine nuts fly under the radar. They sound so innocent, so fancy. Who would think they could be dangerous? But ask any ER nurse, and they'll tell you, the strangest things can trigger the strangest reactions. Then there's the oxidation angle again. Just like with cashews and peanuts, pine nuts suffer from oxidative stress, a process that damages cells, inflames joints, and speeds up brain aging. For seniors battling arthritis, memory loss, or vision problems, pine nuts might be making things worse. And finally, the physical risk. Their tiny, slippery shape makes them a choking hazard, especially for seniors dealing with dry mouth, reduced saliva production, or difficulty swallowing, conditions that become more common with age. Let me share a quick story. Linda, a 68-year-old widow from Colorado, had been following a gluten-free Mediterranean-style diet. She loved homemade pesto with fresh basil and pine nuts. After a few weeks, she started feeling strange, tired, irritable, and worst of all, food tasted awful. She couldn't eat, lost weight, started stumbling. Her daughter took her to the hospital, where doctors ran tests, found nothing obvious, and sent her home. Eventually, Linda stopped eating pine nuts. Within 2 weeks, her taste returned. Her energy came back. Her balance improved. Was it a miracle? No. It was simply a matter of removing a toxic trigger from her daily routine. So, if you're looking for ways to protect your brain, your mobility, and your ability to enjoy meals again, skip the pine nuts. They might look innocent, but they pack a punch. Final thoughts on part 1. Choosing wisely, living fully. These 3 nuts, peanuts, cashews, and pine nuts, may seem harmless, even healthy, but for seniors, they carry risks that grow more serious with every passing year. They weaken your muscles, steal your calcium, interfere with your medications, and accelerate the aging process, all while tasting like a treat. But knowledge is power. Now that you know the truth, you can make smarter choices. You can protect your strength, your independence, and your joy. Because aging doesn't mean surrendering vitality. It means choosing wisely, eating intentionally, living fully, one bite at a time. In part 2, we'll dive into the 3 life-saving nuts you should be eating every day: almonds, walnuts, and pistachios, and discover how they can rebuild your muscles, sharpen your mind, and protect your heart. Until then, reflect on your own habits. Are you reaching for foods that build you up or tear you down? Your health, your freedom, and your future depend on the answer. Almonds, the bone and muscle defender. There's something quietly heroic about almonds. They don't shout at you from flashy labels or promise miracles in a can. Instead, they offer their strength with humility, hiding inside a hard shell, waiting for the right hands to crack them open. For seniors, almonds are not just a snack, they are an armor. A shield against weakness, frailty, and decline. In every crunchy bite lies a fortress of nutrition designed specifically for those who've already lived many years and hope to live many more. Let's start with what elders fear most: falling. A fall isn't just a stumble anymore. It's a possible fracture, a hospital stay, a loss of independence. But almonds help prevent that by strengthening 2 things that carry us through life: bones and muscles. Each almond is a tiny calcium vault. 1 ounce, about 23 nuts, delivers around 76 milligrams of calcium, along with magnesium, an often overlooked mineral that ensures calcium gets where it needs to go, into your bones, not your arteries. Modern seniors face a double threat: declining bone density and reduced absorption of nutrients. That's where almonds shine. Their natural pairing of calcium and magnesium works like a well-trained team, building up the skeleton brick by brick while keeping joints flexible and movement fluid. And let's not forget protein. Protein is the scaffolding of muscle, and as we age, our bodies become less efficient at absorbing it. Most seniors need more protein than they're getting, especially after 65 when muscle wasting accelerates. Almonds pack a surprising punch here too. 1 serving offers around 6 grams of plant-based protein, not enough to replace steak, but more than enough to make a difference when eaten daily. But almonds protect more than just legs and backs. They defend the heart, one of the most vulnerable organs in aging bodies. Their high content of monounsaturated fats helps lower LDL cholesterol, the bad kind that sticks to arteries and makes every heartbeat harder. For seniors managing heart disease, high blood pressure, or recovering from cardiac events, almonds can be a daily ritual of protection. Take Edna, an 81-year-old retired librarian I met during a senior wellness fair in Arizona. She'd survived 2 heart attacks and was determined not to have a third. Her doctor had warned her about saturated fats, so she cut out cheese and red meat. But then she stopped eating nuts altogether, fearing they were too fatty. When I told her about almonds, she laughed. "I thought all nuts were the same," she said. I explained how almonds differ not just in taste, but in structure. Their fats are mostly unsaturated, and their fiber helps slow digestion, reducing the sugar rush that spikes insulin and feeds inflammation. 2 months later, Edna sent me a message. I feel lighter. My energy's better. And my tests? LDL dropped 7 points. That's the power of almonds. But there's another layer to their magic, the skin. Yes, that thin brown film on almonds is rich in antioxidants, compounds that fight free radicals, the rogue molecules that damage cells and accelerate aging. These antioxidants target the brain, protecting neural pathways and helping preserve memory, mood, and mental clarity. Almonds also contain vitamin E, a known protector against cognitive decline. Studies show that regular consumption of almonds is linked to slower memory loss and sharper thinking in older adults. So whether you eat them raw, soaked, blanched, or lightly roasted, almonds deliver a full-body defense system. They're not just food, they're medicine wrapped in flavor. But almonds aren't the only nut with superpowers. Let's move on to one that looks like a brain and might just save yours. Walnuts, the mind and movement preserver. If nature ever winked at us, it did so when it shaped the walnut. Its folds resemble the human brain, a poetic hint that this nut holds secrets for preserving cognition, clarity, and coordination. For seniors, walnuts are not just a snack, they are a lifeline to a sharp mind and steady body. As we age, our brains begin to slow down. Thought patterns become fuzzy. Recall takes longer. Reaction time lags. These changes may seem minor, but over time, they pave the way for serious consequences: confusion, falls, even dementia. Walnuts intervene early. They're packed with alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid that integrates directly into brain cell membranes, keeping them flexible and functional. Unlike fish oil, which requires conversion, ALA from walnuts enters the brain ready to work, supporting neurotransmitter function and protecting against oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is the enemy of memory. It's caused by an overload of free radicals, unstable molecules that damage neurons and disrupt communication between brain cells. Over decades, this damage builds up. Alzheimer's doesn't happen overnight. It creeps in slowly, silently, until one day, names don't come easily, directions get confusing, and conversations slip away. Walnuts stop this process in its tracks. They're loaded with polyphenol, powerful antioxidants that cross the blood-brain barrier and go straight to work. Once inside, they reduce inflammation, protect synaptic connections, and promote neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself. Imagine your brain as a vast forest of electrical pathways. When we're young, these paths are wide, clear, and fast. As we age, some paths erode. Leaves fall, branches block the way. But walnuts act like gardeners, clearing debris, feeding the roots, strengthening the soil. And it's not just the brain that benefits. Walnuts support movement, too. They're rich in arginine, an amino acid that boosts nitric oxide production in the body. Nitric oxide dilates blood vessels, improving circulation and ensuring that muscles receive the oxygen and nutrients they need to stay strong and responsive. Good blood flow means better balance, quicker reflexes, and fewer falls. For seniors living independently, this can mean the difference between walking confidently and relying on handrails, walkers, or worse, wheelchairs. Sleep is another area where walnuts play a quiet but powerful role. They naturally contain melatonin, the hormone that regulates sleep cycles. As we age, melatonin levels drop, leading to restless nights and groggy days. A small handful of walnuts before bed can gently restore this balance, promoting deeper rest and brighter mornings. Consider James, a 74-year-old retiree from Texas who struggled with both insomnia and memory lapses. He came to me frustrated, tired, and scared he was losing his mind. "Some days I can't remember if I've taken my meds," he told me. After reviewing his diet, I noticed he wasn't eating any whole foods rich in omega-3s. Fish was off the table due to allergies. So I introduced him to walnuts. Within 6 weeks, James reported sleeping better, remembering more clearly, and even feeling stronger during his morning walks. "That little bowl of walnuts," he said, "it changed everything." And that's the beauty of walnuts. They don't demand attention. They don't scream about their health benefits. They simply do the work, quietly and effectively. They're not just food. They're fuel for the mind, the body, and the soul. But walnuts aren't the last of the trio. There's one more nut, one that dances with color and vibrancy, offering a unique blend of heart health, vision protection, and joy. Let's meet it next. Pistachios, the heartbeat of mobility. Picture this, a soft green shell cracking open in your fingers. Inside, a plump kernel waits, glowing with vibrant color like a sunrise over spring fields. This is pistachio season, which, for seniors, should be every season. Pistachios are more than just pretty. Beneath their playful appearance lies a powerhouse of nutrients that support heart health, eye function, joint mobility, and even mental upliftment. Let's start with the heart. Blood pressure becomes a silent crisis for many seniors. Left unchecked, it stiffens arteries, weakens legs, and puts strain on every organ. Pistachios offer a natural solution, potassium. 1 ounce of pistachios delivers around 291 milligrams of potassium, making them one of the richest nut sources of this essential mineral. Potassium balances out sodium, preventing it from tightening blood vessels and raising blood pressure. In fact, studies show that regular pistachio consumption leads to measurable drops in systolic and diastolic blood pressure, without medication, without side effects. But pistachios go beyond the cardiovascular system. They protect one of our most precious senses: vision. As we age, macular degeneration sneaks in like a thief in the night, stealing central vision and leaving blurred edges behind. Pistachios counterattack with lutein and zeaxanthin, 2 carotenoids that accumulate in the retina and filter harmful blue light. These compounds aren't just passive guards, they actively repair and reinforce the macula, slowing down the progression of blindness. Now, imagine enjoying a treat that protects your eyesight and delights your taste buds. That's pistachio power. But there's more. Pistachios are low in calories, yet high in fiber and protein, making them ideal for weight management and digestive health, 2 concerns that grow more pressing with age. Because each pistachio comes in a shell, they encourage slow eating, a bonus for seniors who may struggle with overeating or digestion issues. The act of shelling also engages fine motor skills, subtly supporting hand-eye coordination and joint flexibility. And let's not overlook the emotional boost. The vibrant colors, the satisfying crunch, the natural sweetness, all combine to create a sense of pleasure rarely found in healthy snacks. Eating pistachios feels like indulgence, not restriction, a reminder that self-care can be joyful, not punitive. Take Ruth, an 80-year-old widow who lost her appetite after her husband passed. She skipped meals, grew weaker, and felt disconnected from life. Then, on a whim, her granddaughter brought her a bag of pistachios. "I didn't expect much," Ruth said. "But something about those little green jewels made me want to eat again." Over time, Ruth began snacking regularly. Her energy returned. Her smile came back. She even started going for short walks again. "It's amazing," she told me. "Sometimes the smallest things bring the biggest changes." Indeed, pistachios are more than just a snack. They're a celebration of life in all its colors. They remind us that even in our later years, joy still exists in the simplest pleasures. Final thoughts on part 2. Choosing powerfully, living fully. So, where does that leave us? We've uncovered the truth about 3 dangerous nuts: peanuts that weaken the body, cashews that steal calcium, and pine nuts that disrupt the brain and medications. But now, we've also discovered the heroes: almonds that build bones and muscles, walnuts that protect the mind and movement, and pistachios that keep the heart beating and the eyes seeing. Each of these nuts plays a vital role in the senior journey, offering not just nutrition, but strength, stability, and confidence. You don't have to choose all of them, but choosing some of them every single day can change your life. Because aging doesn't mean surrendering vitality. It means choosing wisely, eating intentionally, living fully, one handful at a time.